Today was war. Barely got through the session. Towards the end there, the rest periods were getting longer and longer. I was getting up to like 8-9 minutes, which is very long for me. But I'm glad I finished it. The recap is basically RDLs 200 for 5x5 and then back squat for 160 5x5. I've been doing heavy sessions every other day, and I've strung 4 of these together. So heavy, light, heavy, light, heavy, light, heavy, light. So 4 heavies kind of like every other day. And it's caught up with me. These RDLs are brutal, especially at 200 kilos for me. It's very, very heavy. Today seems like the fatigue has caught up with me. Felt unrecovered or under-recovered. But because of the schedule that I've got in the next few days with work and a number of early morning sessions, 4:30 a.m. kind of starts, I decided to kind of persevere, push through, gut it out. And so that basically resulted in a very, very difficult session. Probably nearing 2 hours now. The session was 2 exercises, RDLs and back squats. I knew it the moment I got to the 200 kilo RDL for the first set. I knew I was working hard. I felt it in my lower back, felt it in my hamstrings. I felt like they wanted to let go. I just took longer breaks. Even with the RDLs, I was taking like 7-minute breaks, trying to kind of freshen up in between, walk around. But it was a very much a hard session. I haven't had a session like this in a long time. It was hard because the weights were very, very heavy for me. And it's quite a lot of volume. So when you do a pig squat routine, you know, it's metabolically tough because it's just a crazy amount of reps, right? You're doing, I don't know what, I think I calculated once, 200 odd reps altogether if you complete the pig squat routine. So that's kind of hard for kind of different reasons. This is high tension workout, right? So you're doing heavy fives. If you guys have heard me talk about, 5x5 workouts, they're brutal, especially if you're doing them in a linear progression type of setup where you are increasing, whether it's workout to workout or week by week or month to month, whatever you're doing. The sessions can get very, very, heavy quite quickly because that linear progression will catch up to you eventually and you'll be gutting it out. And a lot of us, me included, when I was doing 5x5s, linear progression, like starting strength, that kind of stuff, the ego jumps in. It's like, no, I got this set. And, you start making these ugly sets. You start stringing these ugly sets together. And if you continue that's where injuries happen. So you kind of have to learn when to reset for 5x5. But the way I'm doing it, these 5x5s is very much auto-regulating, although I had to kind of shut my auto-regulation voice today because of the schedule. The next few days are going to be very light. Not only are they a light day, but they're also a 5 a.m. light day. So essentially I'll be waking up tomorrow doing some deficit deadlifts with like 60 kilos and front squats at 60 kilos, and that'll be it. So very, very light sessions, and I freaking need them. These RDLs are 5x5. So when I first started doing RDLs late last year, a couple of weeks ago, I was doing like 3 sets of 5 of 200 for your workouts. And I had like 2 or 3 days in between, if my memory serves me right. Now I'm doing 5x5 with 200 kilos every other day. So that's extremely heavy stuff. But I feel stronger. I feel like my whole posterior chain is on. It's a battle. And also what I really like about this setup is that I don't have a lot of variety. For some reason, my brain, the way I am, I don't like too much variation. I don't like looking at the program and being like, I've got 6 freaking movements. It just mentally fatigues me. I like to come in and I like to think to myself, okay, all I'm going to do is RDLs right now, and then I'll do some squats, and that's it. And all I'm thinking about is those 2 movements, hip hinging and sitting down low in the squat. That's it. Even yesterday when I was doing the flies, I don't mind doing flies because it's kind of like a easy movement to do. You're laying on your back. You guys have heard me talk about bench pressing, how it's kind of like a resting exercise for me because, the core's off. I can lay on the bench there. If you leave me 5 minutes, I'll fall asleep. So I don't mind doing those. But, I remember back in the day, I used to do back squat, front squats, RDLs, overhead press. Man, by the time you get to the end of it, man, you're physically exhausted. I get that because it's a lot of work, a lot of compounds. But you're mentally exhausted, trying to facilitate, trying to think about all these movements. Your nerves are freaking exhausted because they're compound movements, each of them, and it's hard in every single right. You know what I mean? Like you're stabilizing overhead, you're hip hinging, you're squatting this way, that way. So for me, man, I like a couple of exercises, and that's it. That's what I like the most. That's where I thrive. Even if it's a lot of volume, I'm like, okay, that's cool, man. Let me just concentrate on this, and just get after it. And today, my Lord, oh man, today I feel like going to bed at 6 p.m. And I had a pretty good night's sleep last night. It was a cooler night. Finally, a kind of cool change came, so we opened the windows to the house, and a nice little breeze came in, and it was refreshing and whatnot. So I had a good sleep, and I thought to myself, all right, let's smash this session, another heavy session, and then I can go into my working days, and I'll be able to recover. Even though these working days, this is where it gets interesting. I've talked about this before. I go to work for 12-hour shifts in ED. Those are not easy days, right? But they are my rest days. If you think about it, those are the days where I choose not to push the weights hard. So even though I'm working all day, there's like a different stressor. It's not so much a physical stressor, like heavy barbell on your back, on your hands, but it's a mental stressor. Working in an ED environment like that, it can be quite fatiguing. Lots of talk, lots of things to do, lots of tasks to get to, and all that sort of stuff. But for me, they are like my rest days. Basically, I come in on those sessions, and I come in and I just, especially now that I'm pushing these damn heavy days. Like back in the day, man, I used to do these, like every session was kind of like a simmering session. So I never would bring have a session where I'm boiling like today, bring it all the way up to a boil, really kind of overreach. These sessions are very much an overreaching session, like your traditional kind of training sessions where you overreach and then you have a few days off. You overreach, a few days off, and it's like a linear periodization type thing, and then you have a week or maybe two where you're kind of deloading and ramping back up and whatever. So I've kind of steered away from that for a very long time, where I'm always stimulating and not annihilating. I used to say this all the time. But now I'm more kind of headed towards the traditional stuff where I'm working quite hard for these RDLs. Because I feel the reason why I chose this way is because for me, posterior chain is really, really heavy. And so if I was to say to myself mentally, every single day you're going to handle 200 kilos on the RDL, even if I took it for 1 set of 5, I think it would get to me mentally, because you kind of have to get up for it a little bit. You have to kind of get excited for it. This way I'm like, cool, no worries. Let me hit 5x5 with 200 today. Tomorrow I don't have to think about it. Tomorrow's going to be a light day. I'll have 60 kilos in my hands, and I'll take it for an extra range of motion with the deficits, and that's it. I don't know. There's many ways. As they say, the cookie crumbles every which way. Every which way you wanna crumble it, you can. A lot of this training styles also depend heavily on your personality. I've spoken about this in the past. If you're an introvert, you might like certain things. If you're an extrovert, you like certain things. If you have like a limited, attention span, you might not like this stuff that I'm doing. Freaking 2 hours. 1 hour with RDLs, 1 hour on back squats. Like, it's a long time, right? It's a really long time, and a lot of people get bored. I think this is where disciplines of fitness, kind of like CrossFit, come into their own, because there's a lot of people there who are like, I'll do this, like circuit training, running around, metabolic conditioning. And, people end up really in nice shape. They're metabolically fit. They have, general fitness, if you will. Some of those workouts are extremely hard. I've seen what they do. I mean, that's, GPP from hell. That stuff will get you fit. To me, in my brain, too much going on, man. I like to specialize. I like to know I'm good at this thing or that thing. I like peace and quiet. I don't like too much craziness, because my life at work is craziness. There's a lot of things going on. I have to run around all the time. And so when I come into my garage, I like no music. I like minimal distractions. I like to listen to my birds singing in the trees that are kind of around the place. I like hearing the wind. is just freaking serenity, man. It's just a beautiful, beautiful moment. And if I was to kind of like throw in heavy metal and drown out the nature and drown out the thoughts that I have in my mind, too much of the same thing that ED kind of gives me. So that's kind of me. That's how I like to train. I was listening to Louis Simmons last night talk on one of his podcast type videos. And he was talking about the value of having training partners and how he says 2 minds are better than one, right? So if you know, one of them has a particular problem, say you have a really crappy lockout on the bench press, 2 minds trying to work it out is better than one. You know, one guy's doing it, the other one's watching it, so it's a different perspective, and so, you know, they might work it out a little bit better. While that is perfectly fine and very proven method for a lot of people, I don't think I'd like that, because if I had like a training partner per se, and he was in my face pushing it, I don't think the enjoyment would be the same. I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think I've had a training partner ever, you know, since I've been training seriously. You know, I've had people come and go. You know, my brother will come and join me. My best friends will come and join me. You know, my cousin, you know, people like this would come in and have a session or two. You know, but they're like kind of amateurs and they're not really serious about training. They kind of come in more for like a fitness thing, you know, get the heart rate up and about. So they were never like really, really serious. But I don't think, as I'm kind of sitting here, I don't think I would enjoy, you know, that type of energy. I don't know. Maybe my mind needs something else. If I had a training partner and it became like a Westside barbell type of setup, then I would need something else in my life to kind of give me that peace and quiet. I don't know, I probably will need some sort of meditation at some point if I was like going from ED to a Westside barbell gym and then home. Like that's too many highs, man. Too much go. I need some slow down, peace and quiet, thinking, you know, feeling, that kind of stuff. So, but you know, once again, everyone's different. You know, a lot of people, like my wife, she, you know, for many years has said to me that she doesn't really like training alone. She likes going to the gym. She likes to have people around, music around, seeing other people train, motivates her back and all that sort of stuff. While I don't mind that, like I don't mind going to the gyms and seeing people like this, but more often than not, I prefer to be left alone. You know what I mean? I prefer the fresh air, especially now the weather's beautiful, man. Like it's summer, some days are hot. Like today it's quite hot as I train, you know, drenched in sweat, whatever. But I don't mind it. You know, occasionally get a bit of a breeze. You hear the birds, you hear the wind kind of, you know, ruffling the leaves. It's just like it's a beautiful thing. This is why I'd love to kind of train outside, even though, you know, I am kind of partially outside when I open the garage. I'd love to have like a bit of a setup somewhere else in the backyard where I have like a outdoor rack. I don't know whether you guys know this guy. I once ran into a channel. Oh man, what was the name of that guy? He's like some guy living in the outback somewhere in America. And this dude is built like everything out of wood and it's all outside. Like he's built a squat rack out of these thick freaking like 4x4, it seems, even more, 8x8 or something. Crazy thick uprights, all custom made timber, concrete to the ground. So he squats, he's a big guy as well. He squats like 600 pounds or something like this. Strong guy, does a lot of like crazy bench pressing as well. He lives somewhere in the outback. I don't know which state in America, but you know, you can see he's on a hill somewhere. You can see like a beautiful view. Man, I used to watch his videos all the time. Just for what a combination, you know, doing something that you love, like powerlifting, bodybuilding, whatever you're kind of into, some sort of barbell sport, in an environment like that where we can look as far as the eye can see, mountains, forests, birds, wildlife, fresh air. I could just picture the fresh air that he has over there. Man, what a place to train. That would be epic. So I don't live in a place like that. I live in a suburb, you know, in a city. You know, my land's not that big at all. Like this guy looks like he's got freaking kilometers and kilometers of land around him. It's a beautiful thing, and sometimes he mixes it up, like he deadlifts on the driveway, which is gravel. Anyway, it's kind of thinking about all that. I'm a fan of nature. I'm a fan of mixing two beautiful worlds, you know, nature and also, you know, doing what we love. That's a beautiful thing. Whereas if you go into a gym, it's all kind of like concrete jungle again, loud music, lots of people, blah, 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 like all the stuff that we kind of normally see in a city, right? You know, you go to a shop, packed out. You go to traffic, packed out. You go wherever you go, packed out. I work in ED, always packed out, always people in the waiting room. So seeing a guy like that train in the wilderness, it seems, man, that's a beautiful thing, man. He looks like he's in heaven, you know. I don't know. I think I appreciate the fresh air. Like a few of the gyms that we go here, a few of the places, I don't know you guys, but it freaking annoys me when the fans are blowing real hard and I feel like there's a freaking typhoon in the damn gym, man. Like, you know, that's why I don't wear shorts. A lot of you guys ask me, like, why don't you wear shorts? The reason I don't wear shorts is because, like, the moment you sweat and you have shorts, that freaking wind hits you, the fan hits you, you freaking dry up and you're cold. Like, if I touch my knees and I can feel them cold, I don't like that, man. I'm training. How can I have cold knees? This is why I wear pants all the time. And a lot of guys would say, why don't you just wear knee sleeves? I don't like knee sleeves. I don't like the sweatiness that you get and whatever. And I don't like supportive gear, period. You put pants on, the whole leg is beautiful. You know, your quad, your calves, your ankle, everything is warm. That's a beautiful thing. I love that. That's what I like. When I'm benching, if I feel my elbows, like my triceps, I touch my triceps, and if they're cold, and when you sweat, you're gonna have cold extremities, right? I don't like that. I like to feel warm all the time. Certainly today, plenty of warmth, no aircon, no nothing, you know. But then you look forward to the breezes every once in a while, like, I don't know, every 15, 20 seconds, a little breeze would come through, and it's like, it's a beautiful thing. Anyway, so maybe one day I'll, that's a nice little idea that I've kind of come up with mid video. Maybe I should make a bit of a project out of it and, you know, dig a couple of holes and concrete some posts in and make a makeshift squat stand somewhere in the backyard, and I can take my weights out and squat in the sun. That would be epic, man. You know, maybe concrete a little area around so I can have solid ground to kind of work with. Oh man, that's an idea. I might actually look into this. But anyway, as you guys can kind of make out, I love being outside, I love being outdoors, I love being in the nature, and also love training with weights. And if you can mix the two beautiful things together, then you're really, really lucky. Certainly today would have been a lot better if I was in the sun. Well, maybe not today because it's really sunny and I'll probably get burnt. But anyway, hard session. Tomorrow's going to be a lighter session. I'm actually looking forward to coming in tomorrow and just moving, you know, lightweight around and feeling good about myself. But man, am I going to sleep like a baby tonight. I'm going to crash like crazy tonight. I'm going to try and drink a few liters of water before sleep. And then, you know, wake up nice and early tomorrow. All right, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.